what is the difference between a degree in anthropology versus a degree in human sciences, psychology, or sociology, for example? Alex, did you want to start on that question?
Yeah, so I think that this is a question which generates a lot of debate within our own discipline, and so it's a question which we are actively reflecting upon and thinking about. And if you join us here at UCL Anthropology, that is a conversation that you'll be part of. What is the difference? This is something that is constantly kind of evolving and is open to kind of different interventions. I think for me, my own personal take on this is that I very much believe that anthropology is a discipline that focuses on the idea of moving through the world and making it with others. And I think that that is a key point of difference between how we approach these big questions. Like Martin said, what is it to be human? Like Heidi mentioned, what is art? Does everyone have art? These big questions, it's not just about, in the anthropological discipline, it's not just about kind of posing these questions and kind of in a very kind of sort of vertical manner, but it's also about kind of creating a world with the people with whom we work in answering those questions. And in creating that world, we actually gain a deep insight into the answer to those questions. So to kind of try and make this a bit more easy to understand, it's really a different relationship between the anthropologist asking questions and a sociologist asking questions, or a psychologist asking questions and an anthropologist asking questions. We don't just pose questions, we live with people, we go through the world with them, and in going through the world with them as an ethical choice, we choose to make the world with them. And I think that as both Laura and Eva have mentioned, it really underpins the reflexive identity that anthropologists take on. But it is also an ethical stance about how anthropologists can move through the world and act to bring about social transformation more widely.
Thank you, Alex. Martin, did you want to contribute to that?
I think Alex's answer is really great. I think that's exactly, putting your finger on again, the temptation is to try and carve out a different field of study. But as the question implies, that's actually very difficult, because what anthropologists look at does indeed overlap with what sociologists look at, psychologists look at, human scientists look at, and so on. So it's this manner of engagement, which, as Alex said, also has an ethical as well as a political dimension, I should say, that distinguishes anthropology. So I completely endorse what you're saying, Alex, there. Just to be very simple about it, I think it is worth pointing out that generally, if you're more kind of natural sciencey oriented and are not interested in questions of culture and society, you probably shouldn't be taking a degree in anthropology, and maybe the degree in human sciences is more suited for you, just very kind of broadly speaking. If you're most interested in human phenomena as experienced at the individual level, then obviously psychology would be probably a better bet than anthropology. And also, if you're interested mainly in kind of broad social structures that can be described in statistical ways, in political economic ways, and in the ways, for example, that class distributions are, class conflicts it can be experienced in different countries, and you're looking things at this kind of macro level rather than the engaged human level that anthropologists adopt, probably sociology is a better bet for you than anthropology. So there are these kind of broad ways of distinguishing these disciplines that, if I were in your position choosing a degree, I'd be thinking about very carefully. But I hope the kinds of answers that we've given you already give you a sense of the kind of qualitative difference of the kinds of approach that anthropologists adopt when looking at these questions.
Laura?
Yeah, if this helps anyone who's trying to figure out which degree to pick, my personal experience trying to pick between sociology, for example, and anthropology was really that idea that Alex mentioned of social change. I had wanted to go into international development as a career after my degree. And I think when I attended an open day in anthropology, that's really what stood out to me. it's this idea that you're doing this degree and you're learning all these things so you can make the world a better place. And I think that was really what distinguished anthropology from other disciplines to me, and that's why I chose anthropology.
The Institute of Archaeology has around 80,000 objects from around the world. We've always taught with those objects. Students learn from them from day one.
One day you'll be handling like bones of people who have actually existed, or like you'll be handling a piece of pottery that someone has cooked with and then broken and then shoved aside.
Having an object there, you can really relate to it, you can imagine it in your mind's eye. You forget that people were very much like us today, and there isn't much change in behaviour and patterns. And it makes you feel a lot closer to these people who did live thousands of years ago, and I really appreciate that.
Hello, my name's Asia. I graduated from my BA in Classics in summer of 2020, and I'm about to begin my MA in Classics at UCL. I loved my undergraduate years at UCL so much, and there are so many things I liked about it, but the one main thing I loved was the location of campus. In Bloomsbury, really close to Euston and King's Cross. It's so well connected and it's such a bustling, lively area. There are loads of things to do around campus, and also it puts you in such close proximity to really good resources, such as the British Library. Another thing that I really cherish about UCL is the diversity of its student body and the number of different clubs and societies that you can take part in. In my first 2 years, I was a committee member of the UCL Women's Hockey Club, and in third year I joined the Students' Union as a barista in one of the cafes, and I also joined UCL Jazz Sock to sing in their jazz choir, and I met so many different people from so many different backgrounds and made so many friends for life, and I found it really easy to become part of the UCL environment and to feel like I belonged at UCL. One of the main things I learned during my 3 years at UCL was to not be afraid to throw myself into every opportunity that was given me. So for example, within the department I became a student mentor in my second year. With hockey, I became a committee member and took part in so many different volunteering and charity events. Like we ran a 10K for charity, and I also started running Project Active hockey lessons in my free time with my friend from hockey. So if you're a new student about to come into UCL, or you're looking to join UCL as a classics student, I cannot recommend it highly enough to you. I love my 3 years so much, and I really hope you're excited to join the UCL community.
Hello everyone, for those of you who don't know, my name is Anbu and I'm at UCL. Back as an alumni. I studied at UCL for 3 years and I graduated last year. I don't know if you guys have seen my graduation video. And I'm back filming an 8-episode series for you guys, covering various things about what life is like at UCL Geography. The quad is one of the most beautiful spaces. It's just absolutely breathtaking. Studying in an environment like this, it's so special. I do this thing where even if I have a lecture on the other side of campus, I kind of walk through the quad just because it's such a joy seeing it every morning. It's very iconic. You've got the Pearson building, which is the geography building, right over there. Let's go check out a lecture which is taking place in the Pearson building.
I've studied hydrology explicitly. The first 4 or 5. The bottom zone within the saturated zone is groundwater.
This is my personal favourite lecture theatre in the entire campus, as you have this beautiful view. Outside of lectures, you'll find students hard at work, cracking on with their assignments.
Hi, I'm Techie. I'm a fourth year at UCL. At the moment I study geography.
I'm third year. I study geography.
I did a year abroad last year in Vancouver. Had an amazing time, and now I've got my draft deadline for my dissertation due tomorrow.
I've always had like a good experience with my lecturers. I've always had one-to-one contact with my tutors. I've always been able to email, come in and like have a conversation about essays, how I'm doing, how I'm feeling.
My dissertation tutor's been amazing. I meet them every 2 weeks or so to get feedback on my dissertation and to see how I can progress it and get the best grade possible. So it's been very helpful, and the teaching at UCL is very high quality.
And always been able to get that support from the department, so it's been great.
So Techie here is gonna show us what?
The labs.
The labs.
The labs downstairs. They're kind of in the basement of the geography building, and it's all like the sciencey stuff. So a lot of people might not realise that at UCL Geography have labs, and like under the Pearson building we have this really long, very well stocked laboratories that have all the equipment that you could need for different research and fieldwork that you might do whilst you're at UCL. And it really helps my learning experience because it means I can get hands-on with equipment that we might get taught about in class and then actually use it in the field.
As I was walking through the corridor, I bumped into Neil, who was waiting to see his lecturer during office hours.
We are kind of new for me, or the way that they're kind of set up here, where you can kind of go visit your professor or your lecturer, kind of talk to them about either questions you have about the exam, the course, the reading, or maybe an essay. You can talk to them about anything you want, as big or small, so it could be about your essay topic. I had some specific questions about citations because they differ in the UK than they do in the US, so you can kind of get some of those questions solved as well.
UCL Geography contains such a wide range of teaching across physical and human geography. This is what a seminar looks like on the human geography side of the course. Students learn about topics such as urban geography, geopolitics and development. Seminars are designed for students to talk about topics in the course reading or lectures in detail, so students have to take an active part in the discussion. It's different to a lecture due to the smaller class size. And finally, tutorials are small group or individual meetings with an academic member of staff. So I hope this video has given you a good insight into what teaching and learning is like at UCL Geography, and I can't wait to see you in episode 2. Until next time guys, cheerio!
Did you know that some 82 million people around the world were forcibly displaced by the end of 2020? Nearly 26 million of them are refugees living in different countries. We live in a world that is full of challenges to health, water and food, livelihoods, equality and so much more, including the COVID-19 pandemic. Not only do these challenges affect vulnerable communities around the world, but also intensify pre-existing crises such as conflicts, forced human displacement, ecosystem disruptions, social inequalities, and chronic poverty. Global climate change is making these things even worse. So the world must act, and act fast. The humanitarian sector is expanding and diversifying as various actors are seeking to save human lives and transform responses into prevention as part of global humanitarianism. The sector needs humanitarian workers with a diverse range of backgrounds. UCL Institute for Risk and Disaster Reduction, IRDR, runs a new BSc degree in Global Humanitarian Studies to educate and train future humanitarian leaders in the theory and practice of humanitarian action. In this multidisciplinary program, students will be able to examine world's responses to conflicts, disasters, climate crises, pandemics, and other emergencies using knowledge and research methods from a range of different disciplines. We aim to equip our students with the scientific knowledge, technological and analytical skills, and core competencies grounded in practice to anticipate evolving and emerging humanitarian threats. Governments, businesses, and humanitarian organizations have emphasized the need for skilled graduates. As well as in-depth subject-specific knowledge, students will develop a range of skills required for the humanitarian careers. These include qualitative and quantitative research techniques, strategic planning and project management, communications, networking, and presentation skills. We are looking for students from diverse backgrounds with varied interests, skills, and ambitions. We welcome students from all around the world who share our vision to reduce human sufferings from conflicts, disaster displacements, epidemics, and climate crisis.
My name is Antonio Sennis, and I'm the head of the History Department at UCL. I'm really happy that you are thinking of studying history at university, and specifically here at UCL. Since it was founded in the 1830s, the History Department at UCL has always had an unusually long chronological reach. We are one of the very few history departments in the UK in which the study of the ancient world and that of post-classical civilizations are completely integrated. We currently have 42 members of academic staff, and we teach courses and do research from the 3rd millennium BCE to the 21st century. We have also developed expertise in topics such as cultural history, intellectual history, social history, economic history, history of empire and decolonization, urban history, public history, science and medicine, gender and sexuality, institutions, and many, many others. Just over a decade ago, we embarked on an ambitious plan to globalize our curriculum and research programs. Already renowned for the quality of our research in British, European, Latin American, and North American history, we inaugurated an appointment strategy designed to expand the geographical range of our portfolio. The next years saw our first appointments in African, Chinese, and Indian history. And during the 23-24 academic year, we were able to consolidate this expansion by appointing new colleagues whose research focuses on topics as diverse as comparative British and Indian history, Asian merchants in Africa, modern Chinese economic and social history, environmental history of North America with an eye to the global south, the idea of revolution beyond Europe. In the history department at UCL, every member of academic staff, from the most senior to the most junior, teaches both undergraduate and postgraduate courses, and their research directly inspires their teaching. In other words, when studying with us, each of you will experience firsthand the most advanced approaches to historical research. You will also have access to the most spectacular treasures of world civilization, and you will be able to access them throughout your studies to enrich your understanding of the past. Institutions like the British Library and the British Museum are just a 5-minute walk from our department. In other words, if you come to study with us, history will literally be on your doorstep. After your degree with us, you will be well placed to understand the world you are in, because you will have acquired the ability to think critically and disruptively, to ask questions to your sources, to look at the past, to understand the present. And these skills will open doors for you in all kinds of professions. Among our alumni, we can count journalists, lawyers, barristers, civil servants, communications officers, but also accountants, marketing directors, financial directors. A history degree at UCL prepares to all sorts of walks of life. If you want to appreciate the present and have an impact on the future, you must understand the past. And we, in the history department at UCL, are here to help you achieve that.
Hi, I'm Izzy.
Hi, I'm Victoria.
Hi, I'm Benedict.
I've just graduated doing 3 years single honours History of Art.
I graduated last year from the History of Art degree here at UCL.
I'm a second year student and I'm a single honours History of Art student at UCL.
I think starting university is nerve-wracking for everyone. Just from that first day, I think I found some of the best friends I've had for the past 4 years now.
We were immediately put at ease by all the tutors. We had a really nice induction week where we could just get to know everyone. There were lots of social events.
So you don't have lectures, you don't have seminars or any of that, but it's a week that's really devoted to you finding your place. So it really is a week where you can orientate yourself around campus, figure out how to use the library, go to a bunch of socials, meet new people.
When you start the course, there are loads of social activities. You really got to bond with your classmates. So it's really easy to just meet people.
You might have the lecture hall style lecture where you are 45 to 60 students. Afterwards, you will break up in small seminar groups where you're about 15 to 20 students maximum.
You will really get the chance to talk about what has been discussed in the lecture and talk about the readings and voice your personal opinions, and you are surrounded by students who are interested in those same things and who are interested in carrying a discussion.
The workload in first year is, although it's quite a jump from A-levels, you don't have that many essays in first year and they're all quite short. I was just really amazed by the level of expertise that the staff have. They're all leading figures in their. Exciting to be around a very active department.
Throughout your degree, you have a personal tutor that you can go to with questions, problems.
Your personal tutor is the one professor, the one academic in the department that really is there for you.
Initially, it may seem like there's quite a lot of reading. If you kind of stagger it and are good with scheduling, it's all extremely manageable.
Throughout the degree, we would have lectures bringing us in and getting special access to exhibitions. So it could be an early morning curator's tour of an exhibition at the Tate.
We were kind of allowed to go a bit more behind the scenes. And people in galleries, departments, they're all very open to UCL students.
London is obviously a great city. In terms of studying history of art in London, it's incredible what resources the city offers. You have tons and tons of galleries and tons of museums.
It can be overwhelming, just the scale of things, but very quickly you learn how to make your way around. And because UCL is so central, actually you don't have to stray that far from campus.
As an international student, I think it's just quite important to throw yourself into the lifestyle here. Most of the British students that you're going to study with, they've also not lived in London before, so it's new for everyone.
To study something like history of art in London truly is a privilege.
The UCL Institute of the Americas is a really exciting and remarkable academic department. We are the largest multidisciplinary centre for the study of the Americas in the UK, and we were recently ranked as the #1 research unit in the 2021 Research Excellence Framework for Area Studies, which means that we're a really world-leading group of scholars. That research excellence also transforms into the classroom though, because all academic staff in the department are expected to make full contributions to teaching, and a lot of the teaching that we do is directly connected to the research that we undertake, to the books that we write, to the articles that we author, and to the policy advice that we provide to governments, to non-governmental organisations and charities. Another fantastic thing about the Institute of the Americas is the fact that it provides a really warm and homely environment for our staff and our students. London's a really big city and UCL is one of the UK's largest universities, but here at the Institute we're relatively small. We have 20 academic staff, we have 5 professional services staff, we usually have between 60 and 75 postgraduate taught students in any one year. So that means that when you come to 51 Gordon Square, which is the home of the department, you should really feel as though you know the names of all of the staff that you interact with, and that the staff know your name in turn, which really, I hope, will make you feel at home. All of the staff here at the Institute are committed and have chosen to work in a department that is committed to area studies. This means that whether we're historians or political scientists or anthropologists, or we work in international relations or on human rights, we're all fundamentally interested in the Americas as a region. We're interested in making comparisons between North America, the Caribbean and Latin America. We're interested in having conversations that go beyond those geographical boundaries. And we all have really detailed area expertise of the type that you may not find in other single discipline departments. This makes us an ideal home for any postgraduate student who wants to learn more about the Americas as a region. We also put on a series of public-facing research events every year that bring cutting-edge researchers from the UK and from beyond to UCL to talk about their research, but to talk about it in relation to contemporary issues. So in recent weeks and months, we've had events on the elections in Argentina, we've had events on the crisis relating to reproductive rights in the United States, and various other issues that really mean that students see the connection between what they're learning in the classroom and real-world events that they understand and want to intervene in. So as well as being cutting-edge researchers, a significant number of our members of staff also make serious contributions to the policy world, whether that's advising non-governmental organisations on torture prevention in Latin America, or providing advice to organisations like the United Nations in relation to cash transfer programmes, or providing advice to the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office about policy in Latin America and the Caribbean. This type of policy advice is also something that we bring into the classroom at postgraduate level. We talk to you actively about the policy impact that research and academic knowledge can have. You do assessments that allow you to tailor what you're learning towards the policy world. And this really means that there's a direct connection between the academic knowledge that you develop at the Institute and the world of policy and politics.
Welcome to the Department of Political Science at UCL. The department hosts one of the largest political science programmes in the UK, located in central London in the magnificent surroundings of Bloomsbury.
Politics is one of the most exciting courses that you can study at university. When we study politics, we're grappling with some of the big questions that are facing citizens and policymakers in today's world. Questions like, how do we reduce violence and civil conflict? How do we grapple with problems like climate change and the onset of automation in the workplace?
There are really big questions around the world about the state of democracy, about whether democracy is under threat, how we should design our democratic institutions, and how we can deal with a kind of anti-political sentiment which seems to have set in many countries. These are of enormous interest both to political scientists and huge importance to our societies around the world.
By coming and studying with us in the UCL Department of Political Science, you'll be rolling up your sleeves and thinking seriously about these big policy questions and thinking about what we should do about them. Because this is a place where we grapple with these big policy challenges, not simply with the aim of understanding the academic abstractions that define them, but also with identifying the actual policies that we should enact in the real world, what we should actually do to solve the problems that we're facing.
Students learn by attending lectures and smaller group seminars, and they enjoy the learning facilities in the department as well as across UCL.
As an undergraduate student here, I really enjoy my time with my students and staff who have been very supportive and collaborative in ensuring that my time at UCL will be a success. So I think the best part of my undergraduate degree so far has been seeing sort of the improvements from the first and second year in terms of my studies. So there's really a very natural environment to make mistakes, to grow, and to find yourself really enjoying the course and getting something out of it at the end. Absolutely life-changing.
The department offers a number of student societies. The International Public Affairs Society provides events and seminars throughout the year, and the International Public Policy Review publishes student research as well as innovative commentary. Our PhD students receive skills and training in research methods in their own substantive areas. They are also supported to attend conferences and other areas of professional development, helping them take the next step in their career. Academics in the Department of Political Science produce world-class leading research. In the last Research Excellence Framework, we scored 2nd on research intensity and 5th overall.
One of the most exciting things about being at UCL is it is absolutely in the heart of London, and London, of course, is the heart of political decision making. Within half an hour you can get to Westminster and Whitehall, where the policymakers are doing their stuff. There's lots of events going on down there, in other locations in London, and of course at UCL itself, because plenty of people who are key to these debates pass through London all the time, and we get to engage with them as part of our study and outside of our study hours.
The department hosts a range of diverse and world-leading research institutes and centres. The Conflict and Change Group, Political Theory Group host world-leading speakers and researchers. Our Global Governance Institute and the Human Rights Institute have been convening leading researchers and academics for several years. The Constitution Unit, based in the Department of Political Science, is the leading think tank on the UK Constitution. Their work and research has been central to informing the public and policymakers on Brexit.
One of the great things about the Department of Political Science is that there's a real fusion of teaching and research. You come into the classes that we have here and you're hearing about the work that our researchers are doing as part of their current research projects, thinking about the big challenges we face. And really what we're doing in our classrooms is investigating the cutting edge work in all of the different areas of political science that we study.
The department is extremely proud of its public-facing events, including our Policy and Practice seminar series, focusing on key topics around climate change, well-being, security, and international development.
I've never experienced as dynamic, as invigorating, and as intellectually stimulating a place to reflect on political questions than the UCL Department of Political Science. This building is buzzing with undergraduate students, with master's students, with doctoral students, with postdoctoral fellows, with lecturers and professors and policymakers and people from all walks of life who come together to think about the great policy challenges we're facing today.
Science and technology play an important role in our society. When we face complex problems, we expect science and technology to provide us with solutions. We have to study how science and technology shapes our world and influences the way we live. UCL has a whole department dedicated to studying science, technology and medicine from historical, philosophical and sociological perspectives.
At SDS, we offer 2 undergraduate programs. The first one is History and Philosophy of Science, and the second one is Sociology and Politics of Science.
I think this course has really allowed me to view science and technology issues from a completely different perspective, because today's problems are affected by so many different factors that it is impossible to just look at a problem and try to solve it from one angle, because you probably won't be able to. After I graduate, I would love to go into science journalism or science policy.
The STS course aims to provide students with especially critical thinking skills. Students don't need a science background. We're looking for students who are curious, who are open-minded, who are ready to look at things in new ways and approach things from multiple perspectives.
So one of the things that we try to do in STS is to look at current developments in emerging science and technology to enable students to make sense of some of those things in order to help those organisations make sense of developments in science and technology. So it's not about training you to become a scientist or an engineer, but it's about giving you the skills to understand and think through the implications and uncertainties of science and technology.
I chose this particular course because I've always been interested in science and technology. I've always been interested in looking at legislations and laws. This course really allowed me to learn how to focus down on a specific area and how to find relevant research and perspectives on it. In the 21st century, I think it's becoming increasingly clear that data protection is an issue that is going to be affecting us. So I think in the future, we need to be able to look at the tech companies and hold them accountable and make it more transparent on how they're going to be using the data they're collecting from us. I hope in the future I'll be able to work for technology companies such as Nintendo or Google.
At UCL SDS, we offer an exciting range of modules including Governing Emerging Technologies, Science, Warfare and Peace, Medicine and Society, Science, Communication and Public Engagement, History of Modern Science, and Science and Ethics, just to list a few. Our flagship module is called the SDS Perspectives on Big Problems, where students study big problems we face in the world, such as climate change, rise of artificial intelligence and misinformation. And our students study the role science and technology plays in construction of these problems and their resolution.
A great thing about our degree programme and about the Big Problems course in particular is that it brings together a group of students who might have a wide range of experience. Some of them might have come from studying the arts, humanities, come from the sciences or from engineering, and we'll bring together all of those perspectives. And we're very clear that when it comes to something like this, where we are collectively learning about a new area, there are very few right answers. Right? We give students some of the tools to explore some of those things, but it's about asking the right questions and exploring them together.
Our students, when they finish our degrees, will be able to communicate, they'll be able to analyse complex situations, they'll be able to see things from different directions, and they'll be able to bring it all together. And that kind of general skill of understanding the world is extremely important in a host of organisations. So it's no surprise that students who come through us go off in many different directions. Some go off to become consultants, some become policy experts, some go into work in museums or places where science and technology are communicated. But it's that breadth and that depth of being able to analyse the world that a good STS student has when they finish.